Hey everyone, good evening to each and every one of you, or whatever time zone you're in. Hello, welcome
What's
to the
up?
Dirty 20 Presents Azaria. Today will be a little bit of a downtime session, a solo session for one of our players,
Yeah.
namely Alois. Nick,
Hello.
please introduce yourself.
Yeah, what's up? Hi, I'm Mike. I play Alois, the High Elf Bard. Find me on my socials on Twitter at __ MickArt. That's it.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Technomancing for us today is none other than our very own Spade. Thank you, Ace, for technomancing for us today, and also as always, thank you, Kenshin and Moxie Gator, for your contributions to our stream. Thank you to all who are watching right now. You guys are very pog.
The Poggest.
um, a little announcement before we start. We are going to have a post Valentine's game at February 15th. That is a Tuesday, 9 p.m. GMT plus 8. It will feature at the JC, aka Mirin Egnazath, as your dungeon master, and some players that are new and some players that you are used to seeing. So we'll see you there. Um, that's also Pog.
Fear. Fear champ.
Fear Champ. Nick, are you ready?
Yeah, let's go. Let's get it. Let's
Okay.
rip that band-aid off.
With that said, let's start tonight's solo session. We start a few moments after you had that intense council meeting. A lot of the people were kind of overwhelmed with emotions and information. If not, a lot of you are kind of distraught with the things that you feel are bigger than you that you have to face eventually, and you kind of look at your party mates and you kind of see them with dour faces. Dour, not the god. Dour.
Dower.
As you kind of look at them, you all kind of decided to have a little bit of time to just rest, find a little bit of silence and solitude within these passing moments, as this feels like the calm before the storm.
Mm-hmm.
As you are within your room, within the castle,
Mm-hmm.
along with your other party mates, would you like to take a rest?
I feel like, yeah, as what do you say? So they're in like their own room, not the council meeting place.
Yes, you guys are in a collective room within the castle that was arranged for you all to
Okay.
kind of have rest time. It has multiple beds, and it has, as you observe all around you, there seem to be like little bedside tables that have
Mm-hmm.
incense and things that are specifically catered for them to find a little bit of relaxation.
Okay. So I guess as we enter the room, Alois first would like make sure, especially with how weird his nephew was about it earlier. He would make sure he double check with Mirin that the scroll of like the blueprints are still in her safe hands. And
Why don't you
then
make me a perception check, please?
actually, okay. Perception. 11.
With an 11, you can tell that there are some rolled up pieces of
Mm-hmm.
parchment within Miran's bag that is safely put onto the side.
Okay.
Yeah.
With that, then with everyone else resting and just the weight of the situation, Alois would find the find perhaps like a corner or the bed closest to a wall and find himself there. And I suppose, yeah, he would take a rest. But
As
he,
you approach the bed,
Mhm.
nearest, like closest to the wall, um, the one who made the beds kind of predicted that you would pick
Oh,
that spot. And as you kind of like gaze upon the bedside table, you see a couple of sheet music, a couple of incense as well,
Mhm.
that can help you relax. You also see freshly brewed tea to the side, um, made just for you.
Hmm,
The others have different stuff on them.
that's cool. That's cool. So I guess he first would like drift his fingers over the bedside table and he reaches out for the cup, but his
Hmm.
eyes land on the music sheet instead and he picks it up. Is it familiar?
Roll me. Hmm. Roll me a performance check for this, please.
Oh, okay. That is a 22.
Sheet music that are very familiar to you. These seem to be a lot of the pieces that you used to do
Mm-hmm.
back in the day when you were a kid, and when you were just kind of like learning the ropes, um, with a lot of the things that you had to play as a child in the small like conventions that your parents had, um, with the events and the people who were gathered there. It brings you mixed emotions. It kind of it's nostalgic. One piece is called the Emerald Dream. It's a very somber tune with that looks as though it's simple when it's played,
Mm-hmm.
but how it's kind of not following the normal beat.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit complicated to keep track when you're playing those notes. Um, you also remember that you picked it up quite easily with a 22.
As he picks up the paper and he notices the the title on the top part of the page, he just starts humming. He hums the piece to himself softly and
Mm.
he brings the paper with him as he sits down on the bed and he takes out his rapier, but it's still in the sheath and he just lays it down on his lap and he holds the bowstring as he hums and just tries to relax himself.
Humming and kind of losing yourself within the relaxing feeling of nostalgia as it washes over you. The waves of your consciousness start to grow dim. You
Mhm.
start to enter a trance like state. You start to feel as though you're lost within your senses. It's an it's a fairly amazing feeling. Um, because of the things that are because of the things that you're holding right now, it doesn't seem like the normal kind of rest that you would have. This feels a little bit more special. You start to reflect upon the days of old. Would you kindly give us your fondest memory from your childhood?
I suppose Alois's fondest memory is walking down to their party hall, his brother towering over him, his hand holding Alois's in a comforting way, and As Alois hears the rumble of the party and he feels how much people there are, it goes quiet in his head. And as they step into the hall, all he sees is Sebastian and Coraline. And he he plays that night thinking it's just for his siblings. He plays the best he has
Yeah.
because the people that matter most to him are there. Nobody else. He's aware that maybe some of this was an illusion. A part of it was Sebastian just trying to calm him down. But the care and the thought of his brother doing that for him, and as well as being able to perform for them, would be a very fond memory for Alois.
Within your mind space, you see yourself as someone younger. Smaller limbs, smaller arms. As your brother towers before you, his hand firmly grasping your own, securely, you feel the warmth emanate from him. A securing presence that makes you feel like there will be no danger from now on. You hear soft giggles as he's kind of like goading you on to. He asks, "So are you gonna play that thing?
Yeah,
You're prepared, right?"
yeah, of course. You said you really liked it, so I practiced.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Like, I think all of them, like on the inside, would love to hear it.
Alois scrunches his eyebrows together once Sebastian mentions all of them inside. And he
Oh,
plants his feet on the ground.
I didn't mean to scare you. Like, okay, think about it this way. Whenever you enter a crowded room, think as though no one's there, and it's just you, me, and your sister. Just the three of us. And when you play those notes, think of it as playing it just for us.
Okay. Just make sure you're there for the whole thing.
Oh yeah, of course. He kind of like giggles to himself. Now, come on. We don't want to be late. You know, a lot of them are gonna get mad. So he kind of like tugs at you, runs. You hear like three sets of footsteps, including your own, going to what seems to be a huge castle that has very ornate carvings to the side of it, riddled with a lot of trees. It seemed to be like multi-layered, and it surrounding it. You hear the sound of a waterfall, but as you kind of look around, you can barely make out like if there are any waterfalls nearby.
Mm-hmm.
This place seems very uh, familiar to you. It seems to be a lot. This feels like home, but not exactly.
Home? Question mark.
But not exactly.
Okay.
As you enter through, you feel you see the doors opening by on its own. Uh, a loud voice from inside declaring, "Welcome, the Twilight siblings." As you all enter the room, one by one, you're presented.
Who's talking?
What? Make me a perception check to see who's talking as you enter, because you're kind of still outside waiting to be called in.
15.
With a 15, you see to the side it is a servant to one of your parents. You you hear him give off. Firstborn and most talented, Sebastian Larenthal. He enters the room, kinda in a dignified way, straight bodied, chest up, kind of puffed up. As he enters, the crowd kind of explodes into a flurry of applause. He looks both left and right with a confidence that seems to be unwavering and unshaking. Looks back at you both, nods, walks forward, kind of turns around into the crowd, looks at all of you. Cunning and ever so beautiful, Coraline Larenthal. Walking forward, you see the fierceness in her eyes, but the soft, but still tenderness and softness kind of emanates from her. You see the long flowing locks of almost platinum and golden hues as she kind of gives off a very fierce but confident smile to the people. She barely knows the people within the room as the same as you, but she kind of like gauges everyone with a wave of familiarity immediately, catching on to them. She nods, goes next to her brother, and ushers you in. And then you feel your heart beating faster and faster in anticipation of the announcement of your name, but it never comes.
Oh my god. Alois, he's standing at the door frame.
The guards are
His,
looking at you.
his eyes just shoot up wide and he glances into the crowd. Everyone is just towering over him and he could have sworn he just saw his siblings over there a moment ago. But now he can't find them and he shakes a little in his place, gripping the neck of his violin as he he tries to walk in and he knows his place. He walks to where the stage is.
You enter this crowd of people. Your siblings seem to vanish within the crowd. Trying to find them, looking left and right, you kind of like you feel a wave of fear kind of like wash over your heart. You panically like dodge left and right, but someone kind of like puts their hand on your shoulder. A familiar warmth comes to you. You hear a voice say, "Those bastards. Can't believe they didn't introduce you."
I look up. Is he sending a message?
No,
Oh,
he's practically beside you, and
yeah.
he's
All right. Pog,
wisest.
pog, pog.
But as you kind of like peer around, see your brother with like freaking disappointed look on his face. He shouts, "Hey! You forgot one thing. Announcing the greatest of us all, Alois Larenthal. Give him a round of applause. Or pay the price." The crowd kind of like chuckles and like, yeah, they kind of like give you an applause, and he kind of looks at you. Sorry about that.
It's all right. I'm used to it.
You good?
Hmm. I still have to play. So,
Oh yeah, of course. Not after we get something to eat first. Yeah?
are you sure?
Yeah,
Are,
of
are you
course.
sure it's alright?
What
What
do you
if
mean?
they. What if, I have to play music? They,
Of
they
course
told me
it's
to
our,
play music.
this is our party. Yeah. This right? This is our place. So come on. He kind of tugs at you again, kind of ushering you to the buffet table. You see, like, so what do you want?
I feel like at this point, Alois still isn't tall enough to see. I'll,
Oh,
like,
you can.
or
Oh god.
they.
Okay, here.
God.
He kind of puts his hands across your waist, lifts you up, and lets you ride on his shoulders.
Yes, brother.
So
And
just point to what you want. We'll get two
immediately,
plates.
immediately, his hands point to the dessert area.
He kind of chuckles. You feel a hand also like touch you on the bottom of your back. As
Mhm.
you peer to the one kind of supporting your back, you see it's Coraline trying to not make you fall as you excitedly go to your brother's shoulders. You're gonna eat dessert first. They're gonna get mad. You hear Coraline say.
But but Sebastian said I could pick any.
But Sebastian's not the one who's gonna get punished for that, isn't he?
His his face immediately verses into like a straight line when she mentions that word.
You hear
And
Sebastian say, "Let him get what he wants. He deserves it. Come on, he's gonna play music later, so let him get dessert if he wants to." Oh, all right. What do you want, champ?
he points immediately to the apple filled desserts. That one.
He. Oh, all right, all right. You see Coraline rush to, kind of like bump a little bit of the people within the buffet line to get like an apple strudel from the dessert line, and like,
Yeah.
and runs to you. Here you go. Here you go.
He takes it and he immediately starts nibbling on it. But
Yeah.
since he's on Sebastian's shoulders, I can feel like crumbs fall on his head.
On his head, gets stuck a little bit on his hair as well. He kind of is like laughing it off, but he kind of like is taking away some of the crumbs as he's. But you don't forget, you still need a little bit of protein in that body of yours.
Of course. I definitely won't forget.
He takes 2 plates of the meat platters. I'll be taking this. He says to like one of the servers. He kind of smiles and like walks to the table, grabs you again. My shoulder. Grabs you again and like puts you down. Uh, Meat first, and then dessert. Coraline also like goes to the side with a larger plate of food, larger than both of yours combined. She doesn't look the part because she's like very slender bodied, but she eats. She can eat.
That do be my sister.
She can eat. You see, as you three sit down, in one of the seats up front, with the tables up front, um, you, yeah, and your brother kind of asks you, yeah, go ahead, dig it.
Okay. So even though he already has an apple strudel in his mouth,
Yeah.
he Sebastian did tell him to eat the meat first. So he finishes what's in his mouth before bringing the plate of dinner over to him. And he eats just like he's told.
As you finish the food, you feel like a hand rub against your head. Good job, good job. Now, yeah, dessert time. And then he's kind of like uh, moves the plate of apple strudel right in front of you. Go ahead.
Almost immediately.
You see him kind of like, uh, oh, looks at Coraline, and Coraline kind of like gives him a look as well. They're all both kind of like shocked that you ate it all in one bite.
He picks up a third, but now he's a lot slower about it, seeing the look on their face.
No, no, it's okay. Go ahead and eat it. It's just funny, you know. We don't usually get to have these moments.
We don't. You're always
Yeah.
so busy.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. It's just, you know, there's a lot of responsibility with being the eldest, right?
I know.
But you know that I'm always there for you. You know that, right?
I know.
No matter what they say.
No matter what they say.
Kind of gives you a silent nod. You see kind of like a change in his eyes. So, how's music?
Oh, and he kind of fumbles. Tries to wipe whatever gunk he got on his violin, and then should I go? Should I go now?
No. I mean, not performing, but like, how's your study?
Oh, it's been really fun. Um, I learned this. I learned I learned this piece. Teacher said it was really hard, but I think I got it pretty good.
Hmm,
The uh the Emerald Dream, I think that's what it said.
wow, you can play that?
Hmm. I could play it. Maybe not now. I don't. And he starts mumbling a little bit to himself.
That's, you know, when I was your age, I couldn't even dream of playing that complicated piece.
Well, well, he's like a loss of words. His brother's admitting that he isn't good at something in front of him, and there's this obvious look of like, you're lying to me on Alois's face.
He kind of like, he has like a look of, I always knew that you were the greatest of us.
And his face kind of turns a little red from embarrassment, and he quickly turns around and like buries his face into Coraline instead.
Coraline is like, as you bring your face to Coraline, Coraline gives Sebastian a look like,
Corey, he's lying to me again.
oh, you know, don't mind him. He's a bonehead.
Hmm.
You know he means well, right? Like,
I. Hmm.
but you know, one thing I do agree with is that we think you're great.
Louise just lowers his head at that, kind of gripping a little bit at her clothes.
You're gonna do great.
I'll try.
Now, remember, when you're scared, imagine everyone in their underwear.
That sounds scarier.
Kind of like, yeah. It does, doesn't it? Just whatever Sebastian said.
I'll do my best.
You hear someone go up the stage. And now, I present to you a pride and joy. My youngest, Alois.
Who's on stage?
The spotlight shines on you as you feel everyone go silent. You see as both your siblings kind of like, you can do this.
Alois feels his heart jump into his throat as the spotlight shines on him, and as the chatter of the party deafens, and he hops off his chair and he dusts off his violin again. He walks over to the stage. Is his father still there?
You see as the stage is empty right now.
Okay.
The person who talked from earlier seemed to have vanished.
Alois walks up, heads to the center like it's a practice motion, and he looks out onto the crowd.
Right now, I would say that as you stand in front of the crowd, the blinding light of the spotlight is kind of obscuring your view. I would like you to make a perception check with disadvantage.
That is a 9.
With a 9, you feel your heart beat faster as your eyes dart through the crowd, trying to find the semblance of familiarity. You see multiple elves just staring at you, anticipating what you're gonna do. You see a lot of older looking elves, a lot of not non really non really like your age or your siblings' age. Maybe something closer to Sebastian, but not exactly you. You would see them kind of like in anticipation. Subtle whispers of what's he gonna play? It's why is he just standing there?
Taking advantage of how the light is blinding him,
Mhm.
he tries to reason with himself, reason with fear that it could be worse if he could see the crowd as it is. And he wants to get it over with. So he puts his violin up, he puts the bow up, and he tries to play.
I would say that as you try to play, make me a performance check with disadvantage.
God, not again. Oh, they're both 26.
Ooh, all right, okay, all right.
He was ready for something bad.
You start to play beautifully as you play each note perfectly. You feel as though it's supernatural to you.
Hmm.
You feel a wave of confidence ooze and emanate through your body as each and every one kind of like sees you. They're looking directly at you.
It's terrifying.
You play the most beautiful song that you could ever do. Emerald Dream. You start to masterfully move your hands in such a way that's close to what a virtuoso would do, you know?
Hmm.
The people start to give off smiles. They start to give off like approving nods. What's going through your mind right now?
I feel like music is a very precious thing to Alois.
Hmm.
it's hard to start playing once he's in front of a crowd, but now that he's got that tempo going, he he's finding himself lost in the music. And there's this heat still of the
Mhm.
light on him that that doesn't let him fully immerse into the
Mm.
feeling, but he's trying his best as a young boy could.
As you go into the crescendo of the song, the height of the music, the crowd goes wild. A muffled applause echoes through your mind. But no matter how hard you look, their eyes seem to be obscured by the light.
Hmm.
You don't know whether they're approving of this or they have something else in their minds. Would you like to move on to your next piece?
Yes,
More
definitely.
confidently this time, I'd like you to roll a performance check. Normally.
21.
With a 21, you start to perform as masterfully as you can, with notes as clean and pristine as your family's legacy. You start to close your eyes and feel the. It feels like it's caressing your emotions. And you feel waves and waves of comfort reach out from you to the people, trying to usher them in and convince them that they should listen to you. And I would like you to make a wisdom saving throw.
A what? A what?
A wisdom saving throw.
Zaps. 18.
With an 18,
Why am I rolling so well? I don't
you
like
start
this.
to see your siblings
Yay.
with a proud look in their eyes, and you see like even Sebastian. He'll deny it when you ask him, but you see him kind of like wiping a few tears off his eyes.
Uh,
Coralie kind of like has the proud big sister look on her face, and like they're both kind of like um, very like giving off their support, and you feel an extra added layer of heart into your performance. The warmth is replaced by a comforting wave of just pure love, which is translated into musical notes to the winding of your violin. Would you like to play your final song?
yes.
I will give you the liberty of choosing what this last song is called.
Mm?
What would you like this song to be called?
You can't put me on the spot like this. Hold on. I feel like the first two pieces were very big and grandiose
Yes.
in the way they were played.
Mm.
But Alois is filled with this sense of confidence in him that he decides on the spot to change his set list up a little bit.
Ooh, okay. Alright.
So instead of what he was meant to play, he backtracks a little and plays a softer tune that he wrote himself. As he sees his siblings in the crowd, he gives them a smile and he tries to play Three Little Stars. Let's call it that.
Okay. Three Little Stars. A song that is composed by Alois Lanto. Make me a performance check with advantage.
God, don't fail me now. 21!
With a 21!
I'm so happy.
The soft tunes start to caress the hearts of the people. Even the people that you don't recognize start to cry. They start to empathize. See the emotions that fill you up each and every day. The feelings of doubt, the feelings of not being good enough, the fear that's set in your heart every day. You start to get a sense of this as the music, the tender music, reaches out to them. You hear kind of people crying in the crowd. As you look at each and every single one of them, you feel satisfied. Like you've done what you needed to do. This feels amazing. Run me through your mind right now.
Right now, it's pretty straightforward. As even though he's played as well as he could still hear his heart beating loudly in his chest, and he breathes heavily a little as he stares into the crowd, and he isn't sure. He's just trying to steady himself, trying to not get overwhelmed with everything going on.
You're focusing on the music as you are winding your violin, playing those notes beautifully. But amidst the music, you hear someone say in the backstage, of course you would play that. As you hear this voice, your heart skips a beat and you feel your hand kind of like making a mistake as you kind of pluck accidentally the third string. You feel the people kind of stop. You try to play and redeem the notes that you're doing. And I would like you to make a performance check with disadvantage.
Oh god, this is where it goes down.
With a
15.
15, you see in your peripheral vision a man standing on the backstage with his hands both crossed, anticipating how you'll recover from this. You hear a voice saying, let's see him get back up from that.
Trying his best to it's pretty hard to ignore voices that are so close to you, who always try to make sure that they're close to you, to always make sure that you can hear them. But Alois tries. And even though he accidentally plucks the wrong string, he uses that momentum to recover and play a different type of arrangement before leading back into his original piece.
As you kind of like make a detour, a little bit of a musical detour to go back into your intended piece, you hear another voice. This time closer, you see two figures within your peripheral vision. A woman with a thick, demeaning voice saying, "After all we've invested, this is what he gives us?" It's amazing that the crowd is even loving this. Mediocre.
As Alois plays, he can't help it. Tears start to well up at the side of his eyes, and he grips the neck tighter as he hears this. And he shakingly tries to continue playing through the tears, through the shaky legs.
Make me a wisdom saving throw with disadvantage.
Ah.
Luis! Oh my god!
The dice knows what story. We're oh god.
With a nat 1, you mess up more and more as you kind of try and like play your hands, feel like they're trembling as you hear those voices kind of berate you from the background. You're the only one who can hear this. Your brothers and your brother and your sister are in the crowd. You see the worried look on their faces. They're kind of like trying to convince you that they're there, but the light seems to figures once more as you hear the man from your peripheral vision say, "Told you he wasn't worth it. Let's go." Footsteps. Walking towards you.
While I'm still on
While you're still
this,
playing.
his head immediately snaps up and he looks over.
You see a
Terrified.
man towering over you. Shorter hair, still blonde. Looking down, you see an overcast shadow obscuring a little bit of his face, but to you, his eyes feel terrifyingly piercing. Blood red, shooting down. You hear him snap the violin that he gave to you. That is all. Thank you for listening. And I'm sorry for making you expect anything for tonight. He kind of shoves you to his backside, shoving you to the backstage. On the other hand, we do have better entertainment for us tonight. Our firstborn, Sebastian, please come up the stage. As Sebastian kind of like is looking left and right reluctantly, trying to search for you. But in the end, he he complies. He goes up the stage. His father hands the violin that was yours. Play something from your heart. You see Sebastian take the violin. He nods. and he plays. You can feel the sadness emanate from Sebastian as he's playing, as you are immediately grabbed by the woman, looks at you eye to eye, expecting you to explain yourself.
Alois lets out a squeak as he's yanked around, as he's pushed and yanked around backstage, and he feels like he's about to wail, to sob, but he catches Sebastian just now walking up onto the stage, taking his place in the light, and he bites his lip, because what is more shameful than ruining his brother's performance?
She hears you wail just a little bit. Immediately you feel a slap across your face. Your lips quiver and tremble as tears start to form up.
I didn't mean it.
Shh, you're gonna ruin your brother's performance. You're
And
lucky to
he-
even be born. To even be born. Your brother's so much better than you.
He nods as she whispers that to him. He understands.
She kind of like gets her index finger and kind of like um, presses it against your forehead. Get that through your thick skull. No matter how much you try, no matter what you do, you will never amount to what your brother is. She kind of, she like forces the index finger, kind of like pushing you back a little bit. These words, you're lucky to even be born, echo through your mind as the place starts to grow darker and darker and
God.
darker. You feel a sharp pain in your hands as you open your eyes to see yourself holding the same violin that you were holding before. You hear your instructor come forward. You're doing it all wrong. That's what What even are you doing?
I'm playing. Just like how you told me to.
You're playing, Gisela. Look at those notes. Read the notes properly. Isn't that... What's that? He points over to, like, one note.
He squints his eyes and he tries to see, but instead tears just splatter on the page in front of
Now
him.
you're gonna ruin the music sheets. She kind of, like, snatches the music sheets. Look closely. Come on. It's getting frustrating by the minute. I know that your parents have given me all the money in the world, but this is just so frustrating. Look at the notes. Stop crying. Concentrate.
I'm trying.
Look at the notes. Read. You know how to read music, right?
I can. Yes.
Go ahead. Play. Play!
He rubs at his eyes and he brings the violin up.
You feel, the wax that you rub on the wax that you rub
Yeah.
on the bow kind
Yeah.
of like mixes a little bit, and it kind of irritates your eyes as tears like flow harder as you try to stop them. What the hell are you crying for?
I don't know. It just I can't.
Play.
Okay. And he left the roll. Ugh. I don't
Yes,
think I can.
please.
Okay.
Make me a performance check with disadvantage.
You see a 20, 26. Oh, that was a net
Ooh.
20 on the other
That
side.
was an Atari on the other side
Uh,
with a
sheesh.
26. Yeah, there. See? That's much better. Put your emotions aside. They're never gonna help you. Focus on the music.
Music. And he pushes whatever he's feeling down, and he tries to drill those words into his head as he tries to play like the notes intend.
As you play as the notes intended, you feel a sequence of within your mind of you playing to different crowds and them applauding you. But as you do play these notes, no emotion from your heart is getting translated. You feel like it's all empty. You don't see your siblings. Your parents are always there at the backstage. You always see as each and every person praises you for something that they're forcing you to do. You see as you kind of peer left and right, no matter which crowd you're in, you can't see where your siblings are. And then it
It
immediately, yes, continue, please.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's always been the way Alois has played. Music is very dear to him, but every time he performs, it's always for someone else's amusement, always for the betterment of something else, for the entertainment of someone.
Mhm.
And as these performances pile on, there's this yearning for something for himself. But it's this same yearning that Alois always pushes down and pushes away. Because who is he if not to be of service of his siblings? He feels.
As this sets in your mind, you're playing the violin and you kind of close your eyes just a little bit, trying to feel just a little ounce of emotion. But as soon as you do close your eyes, you hear the clanking of chains. You feel your body to be sore all over. Make me a perception check as you open your eyes back up.
Oh my god. 23.
With a 23, you open your eyes to see your hands chained together
Oh my. This is where we're going.
in a dark and dreary dungeon. No warmth, no fire, nothing. You feel a sharp pain continuously pulsating all throughout your body right now. It seems to be shifting places each and every time you try and like feel for where it is. As you look up, you see a towering figure of a man with a scowl on his face. You see what he holds in his hand is a leather-bound handle springing out with multiple kind of like thick threads of leather. Impaled on them are shards of sharp metal, like on the ends of each strand. Each time he swings it, it makes a whooshing sound, like it's ripping through the sound barrier. Have you had enough? Will you continue to be a disgrace for this family?
He whimpers and he just can't muster up a reply.
Those shards of metal impale themselves to your skin, latching on and not even letting go. Worthless! Yes?
We should DW
Yes.
TW child abuse.
BW. Sorry, yeah. Let's put it on the title itself. As we continue on, trigger warning, torture, and mature themes. We will stop for a few seconds as we continue. So if you feel unsafe, please click off the stream. There you go. Let's continue on. Are you ready to continue, Mick?
Let me just drink some water. This is the route we're going down, I see. Ready?
Ready? Okay. As the strands latch onto your skin, he doesn't pull it out just yet. He asks you one more time. Who are you?
No one.
He pulls it off. As the blades that are latched onto your skin tear off a piece of your flesh on your torso, it opens up an exposed part of your rib cage to the side. As it bleeds out, you no longer feel the pain that's coming from this, and not even blood is coming out. Water is beginning to pour out of your body.
Water.
That's right. You're nobody. And you will always be nobody. Not even better than your second, than the middle child, Coralie. You're lucky to even be born. You only exist to make your siblings look better.
With a shaky breath, he repeats it. I'm lucky to even be born.
Tell me once more, who are you?
I'm no one.
As the lashings continue, as you feel and him pulling it out as soon as it attaches to your skin, ripping off pieces of your flesh. Before he leaves, throws away the flagellum. That's what it's called.
Funny word.
I wish your mother swallowed. Spits on the ground. Right on your feet. Turns around. Locks you up. Into the dungeon that you're in. No daylight. Nothing at all. Walk us through. your mind right now? I'm sorry to ask you this.
It's messed up in Alois's mind right now as he holds himself in the dark, arms wrapped around himself in a soothing manner, tucked away into the corner of the room, making himself as small as he could be.
A pool of your own blood on the ground is the only thing that gives you warmth in this cold, dark evening.
He feels like this horrible shiver as his back is pressed against cold stone walls, and he's repeating over and over in his head. He's just thinking, I'm no one. I am no one. I'm only here for them. I'll only ever be here for them. Things like this just
Repeating,
rattle.
rattling all throughout your head. You start to lose consciousness as you fade into the night. Your sight grows dim and dark. Within the quietness of your mind, you feel a sharp pain once again, this time flat into your back. As you feel a burning sensation kind of implant itself onto you. You smell burning flesh. As you open your eyes, your skin starts to bubble.
Alois has done. He's learned how to be quiet when he's in pain. But this is just searing, burning onto a large portion of his back, and he can't help but let out a loud, guttural scream as it presses into his skin.
A blood-curdling scream echoes all throughout. It doesn't even sound human anymore, like like a creature being slaughtered. Even with your gentle voice, it seems to be just a shadow of what you once were now. As you let off the scream with a pain that you can't ignore anymore, you feel slowly and slowly getting your body is getting weaker and weaker. As you look at your own flesh getting more and more pale by the minute. I would like you to make a perception check.
19.
With a 19, you look up to see what seems to be a floating like orb of pure blood. No containers. As you see your own hands, your own blood being siphoned from your body, you're trying to get just a moment to collect yourself. Your skin gets pale as your body gets drained of its own blood. You see two figures standing right in front of you, laughing the most maniacal laugh, unlike anything you've ever heard. Both them, laughing at your immense pain. As more and more your blood starts to go out of your body into this huge orb of just thick, dark red blood that's like swirling around. You hear a scream from afar.
Its noises are muffled and they're mixing in Alois's head as he's gripping onto the verge of unconsciousness. And even though it's hazy, he sees the outline of the figures, but he deep down within him, he knows who it is. And it's he hates feeling and thinking like this, but all he could think at that moment was, I wish you were gone. As he tries to stay alive.
Your mouth quivers as you can only mutter the words, I wish. As you say those words, you hear the scream getting louder and louder. No more! No more! As you see a crimson, sharp edge pierce through. First, the lady, the silhouette of the lady, fade away. Pierce through the silhouette of the man towering over you, fading away. As you feel the blood rain down on your own body. Someone, before you could even fall, they catch you. You see, even though all of this blood is obscuring your vision, clearly there are tears in the eyes of this person that's holding you right now. His breath shaking. No more.
Eloise can't see who this person is. And frankly, his mind is a fog. But as he's caught and as he feels that familiar grip on his face, he's able to close his eyes and let out the smallest, weakest smile. There's only one person who would do this for him.
Your demeanor immediately changes. With the weakness that you have, before your vision grows dim, you see him raise up his right hand. I'm doing my best to raise up my right hand. You see him raise up his right hand. A blade that is very familiar to you.
Mm-hmm.
Soars through. He turns it around and pierces you. As the blade sort of vanishes in his hands, you feel him concentrate and let off a scream. As you feel the blood entering your body once more, and your wounds start to close. His embrace is all that you feel right now. No more pain. The warmth overwhelms you as you close your eyes and fade into unconsciousness. You hear a heartbeat.
Getting
As you
slower.
feel a breeze waft through your long locks. You feel something grip you.
No! God! Damn it!
You feel something grip you
Zeb!
as a huge kind of like gust of wind breezes through your face. Would you like to open your eyes?
Yeah.
As you do open your eyes, you see a man of pure crimson holding you by your throat.
Not again.
Before you could even react, he lets go. You hear a scream of two people. No! As you see one person rush towards you. You see yourself falling almost endlessly as the wind breezes through the back part of your body. You feel like you're eternally falling. I would like you to make a perception check for me, please.
Not 20!
With a nat 20, you see a familiar figure jump off as well, reaching for you as you're falling. Your
Desperately.
consciousness fade in
Oh,
and out
God!
as you feel someone grip you tightly and embrace you. Turn you around. You feel an impact, but not on your own body. As you spring awake from your trance,
What the fuck?
breathing heavily, you feel a searing pain in the back of your body as you wake up from your trance. What do you do?
What do I do? Fuck. Alois. He he's panting and nervous and scared, and he's a lot of things right now as he feels that searing pain at his back, as he recollects everything that they're meant to confront in the present. And now, of all times, he remembers things in his past. He's frantic, and he tries to compose himself, seeing as though there's still people within the room.
As you
But
do look around right now,
oh,
the room is empty.
oh
You're alone. Everyone seemed to have went out.
no, like, what? Huh? He he just lets himself feel these emotions as he sinks down into the bed, and he grips the bowstring still sheathed in his lap, a bit in frustration that there's still things he isn't sure of, and it frustrates him. But if he still thinks that they could still be out there, then there is still reason for him not to give in to these negative emotions. So he tries to compose himself, and he starts so by fixing his hair, tying it up in a high ponytail, all of it,
Hmm.
in a sort of comfort, as he can pretend to be the person he idolizes the most.
As you do this, you try and take a semblance of what you can control, and you focus it on fixing your hair. I will now give you a chance to collect yourself as we take a break.
Thank
We
God!
will be back in a few moments. Please stick around with us. Let's take a break. Stick around, everyone. Hey y'all. So as we continue this stream, a little bit of trigger warnings. There, we have explored mature themes and torture, and it might continue on with the rest of this stream. We will see
Bye.
where it will go. Um, but yeah, let's go back into the thick of it. What happened is that within Alois's trance, he sort of went on a trip back to the past. He with the memories that he had, the most terrifying ones and the ones that he held most dear. It started flooding back into his mind as he is contemplating everything that's going on and figuring out what there is in the bigger picture. This starts to spring back up. Alois, you're inside the room right now, and you see that no one is there. Um, what are you doing currently?
Um, other than not much, Alois is still trying to calm himself, which is very hard work when he's alone. But I feel like he could get there if he takes a little bit more time.
As you are trying to calm yourself, slowly but surely, you hear a knock on the door.
Um, he uses a bit of prestidigitation to clear his face as he gets up from the room from his bed and straightens his back, walks towards the door. He opens it.
As you open the door, you see Frederick with a little bit of like. I want you to make an insight check as you do open the door.
Oh, Fred. 10.
With a 10, he seems like he kind of wants to. He has something on his mind. You see a bothered look on his face, looking at the ground instead of you. His usual confident demeanor is gone. He knows that only you are there within the room. He looks back up. Would you mind
Yes.
it? Sorry. Would you mind a chat?
Um, the room is empty. Come in.
Thank you. He goes in, closes the door. He so sits down. He's not himself because like you know how he is, right?
Yeah.
But this time, as you do look at him, he seems a little bit different. The normal confidence that he has is put to the side.
Alois's hand hovers a little, as if he's contemplating whether to put a hand on Frederick's shoulder, but he tucks it back beside him, instead, like, kind of leans in to his peripheral. Is something wrong? You look bothered.
Um, I don't usually
Hmm?
do this, but can I?
Yes.
He hesitates and he like looks to the side. Is it okay if we just talked?
Of course. We're talking right now.
He nods. First, I'm always wondering, what do I call you? Because we're so, like, far apart. Do I call you uncle? Kind
It
of
is
sorry.
incredibly funny to hear you call me uncle. I wouldn't mind that. Alois is fine as well. But
Uncle seems awkward, doesn't it?
it does, considering we're quite a few generations apart.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's been a while since I called someone uncle. Kind of, the king thing. Kind of obscures the relationships that you have.
Kind of your only one.
Yeah, well, not really, right?
I suppose. Our
But
family tree is pretty weird.
yeah, and all throughout, you know, I read all the books, documented history and such.
Hmm.
I always wondered, how did you guys do it?
Do what?
Be a leader, not just someone
Us?
who ruled.
Well, you see, we've never, we didn't rule alone. It was never just Sebastian. He always sought out what Corey thought and what I thought, even though it feels a bit weird to me. It's good to have a second opinion. It's good to have people who can look at things differently than you and who you can trust are being honest with you.
That's the thing, isn't it?
Hmm.
With everything that's going on in the kingdoms, trust is a rare thing. Very rare. A lot
Incredibly.
of people, even though you fought alongside them in life and death situations, end up betraying you in the end. They all show their true selves when push comes to shove. Not even blood relatives.
I suppose not. There is this sweetness in finding people who you can call family than rather than settling with those you have at birth. But if you are able to try to hope that these people next to you won't betray you, it goes a long way. Because you can't keep thinking that people will betray you and have them feel that. How how can you how can they be trustworthy if you refuse to even give them the chance?
But what if they don't understand?
What do you mean?
I always have to make the toughest decisions for my people. Things that I'm not too proud of.
Hmm.
And I know in my heart that it's for them. But what if the people that I trust see me as something different? What if they think that my choices only lead to something more sinister?
I I'm not the one to assure you of what they think, but and then Alois puts a hand up and puts it on Frederick's shoulder. If you worry so much, I believe then that you should ask them what they think of you. If if you aren't able to bring, and he's kind of like hesitating a little. If you This is very hard. I'm so sorry. I wish I knew what other factors Sebastian put into when deciding things for Celios, but
He kind of stops you. What do you think of me?
you, I think that you're doing your best. That everything that's happened, I wish didn't happen because I know what it feels. And it's horrible. It's a horrible feeling to have people who were meant to raise you and love you treat you like that.
He gives a sarcastic smile, but like you know that it's because he relates. Father never loved me. Never saw me for who I really was. Always wanted me to be something else. Something something that would fit their standards, or what seems right to them.
Alois kind of pats his shoulder. Yes, but now you're creating your own standard, aren't you? You're you must people around you will it will be hard to trust people, especially after what we've been through. But I feel like the person you need to trust the most is yourself, first and foremost. That you're able to do the things you need to do, and you're able to choose the people who you want to be beside with.
He sits in a little bit he sits in the silence a little bit. Then he kind of looks up at you, uh, catches himself, kind of. I apologize for how I acted earlier today. It's just that I feel like no one truly understands what it means to make decisions for a whole country. One wrong move, and a lot of lives can be lost.
There's a gentle smile on Aloise's face. I accept your apology, and I understand. You're we're all scared, especially with the gravity of the situation we have.
I'm afraid that if I
Mhm.
don't act, if I don't stay strong, that everyone around me is going to crumble.
For a moment, Alois looks to the side, kind of darts his gaze away before meeting Frederick again. I get that. But I believe you three have something we didn't. You all spent time alone, right? Creating kingdoms, protecting. You all now understand what it's like to run a kingdom. And I believe with that you'd be able to create stronger decisions than just me and Coraline trying to pitch in and see what would work with Sebastian. You have experience. You can't doubt that.
You see him shedding a few tears. But the three of you always seem so close. It's like when you three were together, nothing could stop you. That doesn't even compare to what happened with me and my brothers.
There's a darkness to why we're so close, and I love my siblings dearly, but I don't wish that upon anyone. And the seriousness kind of drops a little from Alois's face. And even I spent time apart from them. I traveled, I looked, even I helped expand what we have now, and that helped.
I've heard from the books that a lot of our history is just all of you picking up good-hearted strangers along the way, making the kingdom as open as possible to give hope, not just to Celios, but to make hope visible for those who are lost. A shining beacon of light.
I mean, it, in a world where everything could go wrong, in a world where everyone gets hurt, what else do we have but hope?
He lets go of serious, his serious like composure. He gives off a smile. Hope. Such a dangerous thing. It could spark revolutions, build countries, destroy them. You know, the only thing that I had when I ran away was hope that it could eventually be better than what my father said I could be. And that hope is what sustained me whenever I would feel weak. I'm always thankful to those that further fan the flame to that hope, to each and every single one that laid their life for this to be born. When we go to my eldest brother, I fear that a lot of us might lose that hope. And eventually, when we face the Crimson Dawn, we might even face them with no hope at all.
Then let me assure you, he gives out like this silly grin on his face. If there's one thing I know what to do, it's be stupidly hopeful. And he kind of like holds him a bit steadier. He's like, as long as you'll have me, then I'll make sure I can provide, I can feel even the tiniest bit of hope, even in our dark times. Okay?
He smiles. He kind of like, you see him kind of, his mind kind of drift off just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Would you, he kind of like ushers to stand up. Would you walk with me?
Sure.
He stands
All
up,
right.
ushering, and he opens the door for you as well. Please.
Oh, of course. And he kind of walks out first. Feels a
Yeah.
bit weird because I'm extremely short. This man's extremely tall.
As you're both walking through the halls, he he's kind of like unusually silent,
Hmm.
and he's just kind of looking to like pondering something. As you pass through hallways, multiple hallways within the castle halls, you see him like kind of looking for a specific door.
Hmm.
You see him, his face brighten and like, yeah, that's, come on, please.
Okay.
He ushers you to some kind of door that has a lot of like ornate carvings to it. It has some sort of symbol, uh, some sort of symbol in the middle,
Yeah.
and a lot of leaf carvings all throughout
Hmm.
the door. Must have been fate that you're the one who appeared.
Why? What's this?
He opens the door, and you see an empty room, but there is something in the middle that is all of the things in the room. There's like a carpet that is laced gold on the sides. It's crimson red, as it's laid forward, and then there is what seems to be a like in a showroom.
Hmm.
It's the centerpiece,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
the glass is heavily fogged on the inside.
What's that? What's that?
After you,
All right. And he slowly walks in.
as you walk in, He closes the door from behind. As you peer at him, he has a smile on his face.
They murdered.
Go ahead.
He's gesturing to the centerpiece.
Yes.
Okay, I would like to approach. He's kind of confused.
As you are approaching, I would like you to make a perception check with advantage on this room.
Okay. Bing, bang.
He attacks you from behind. I'm just kidding.
Then he draws his sword.
He draws his sword. No, as with a nat 20,
What the fuck is there? He's
you
rolling.
see on the walls frames, multiple frames. And as you try to look at them as you're walking through these halls, you see musical notes. Within that 20 on perception, you see the sheet music, and the very first one seems to be the end. And then, as you slowly progress, you see that it's kind of like arranged backwards. The very last one that you lay your eyes upon, you see the title, Three Little Stars, composed by Alois Larenthal. All over this room is the sheet music for the song that you composed.
He's looking around and he, for a moment, puts a hand up to his mouth as he realizes what this is. Then he looks over to Frederick with this look of disbelief. How? I thought I threw this away. I didn't keep this.
Vaughn brought it over.
Vaughn?
I kept the thing that's in the middle.
Oh, what's in the mid? As he kind of walks over, and he's already crying because of course he is.
You see in the middle is like a the thing from Beauty and the Beast that's like
a glass
the
case.
glass case
Mhm.
with but this time it's kind of like fogged. That's why you can barely see it. Would you like to lift it up?
Yes.
As you
Poison
do,
spiders.
as you do lift it up, you get a semblance. As you slowly lift it up, you get a semblance of worn out wood.
Is it my violin?
And as you open the case entirely, you see a very aged violin that has a lot of wear and tear on it. Would you please describe to me how your violin looks like?
Oh god. As this is probably one from Alois's, or this might be his very first one. Yeah, so knowing this, it's not a whole lot smaller, but it's smaller than a normal violin.
Yes.
And you get this sense of it's been custom made by artisans for a young boy or a young musician, with how it's despite the hundreds of years that this violin has been on this planet, it still holds its shape, and it's made out of fine wood that you'd find surrounding Alois's childhood home, made, and it's colored a dark blue, but you can see that there are little hints of white and gold where Alois would defy sometimes, and he'd paint little things on the edges of his on the edges of the violin, and it's still very noble, very ornate, as it is something Alois would like to carry on his person.
Would you like to? It's yours if you want it.
I don't want to break it.
It's made out of elven wood. It'll never break.
It's very worn. He kind of, even though he says he takes it.
As you put your hands on it, you see something within that 20 perception from earlier. You see something on the inside that kind of glows.
What's it say?
It only has letters in it. S, K, and A. Glowing a bright green from the inside. That whenever you would tilt your head as you rest it on the side of your cheek, you would always see their initials there to give you comfort while you're playing.
He holds the violin close to himself. And it's just this tender moment. And despite the trance earlier, Alois does his best to focus on the good parts of this violin, on the best parts.
You remember voices in your head saying, since you can't really see us when you're playing, I had the bright idea to put it on your cheek. Come on, just put it on your cheek. As you put it on,
yeah,
you do see that. So you always remember us when you're playing, Sebastian says.
As Alois puts the old worn violin in his hands, and it kind of warms his heart that something that felt so heavy and large before is now comfortable and light. And he draws his sword, but he doesn't aim it, of course, at Frederick.
Yes.
He takes it out and he puts it down. And it's been a while, but he looks up at the sheet music across the room and he plays.
As you play this song, a wave of comfort just pierces through your heart. You start to forget everything. Not forget, but start to kind of recover from a little bit of the things that you've been dreaming of. You look at Frederick, and he's just looking at you in amazement, appreciating the music that's coming out of your heart. And as you play us through the end, this is where our session will come to a close.
So heartwarming. I'm gonna ignore the first part. So heartwarming.
Thank you for playing.
That was something. Sheesh.
Whew. If you would like to draw what your original violin looks like, please feel free to do so.
Oh, you know I will. It's me.
Yes.
I have two. I don't even know where I keep the first one. You know, don't worry about it.
With that said,
And backup violin.
whew, I hope you enjoyed this solo session for you. Thank you, Ace, as well, for technomancing tonight. Before the stream ends, I would like to take this opportunity to greet Mick. A very happy birthday. Your birthday is gonna go on. Happy birthday, Mick! When the clock strikes 12, thank you for being an amazing friend and being a wonderful player. And most of all, a very wonderful person. Continue to just be yourself and like be the most genuine version of yourself. You're amazing. Thank you for always showing up, and thank you for sharing Alois with us.
No problem. I'm so sorry y'all had to see the fucked up parts I wrote for Alois before my birthday. Whoopsie.
He's a little messed up.
Oh, he's a little bit fucked up actually.
So with that said, thank you each and every one of you. We hope to see you as Sunday comes. Thank you for watching, and we will see you this Sunday. We will
raid.
also raid. Yes, we will also raid. Let us find a person to raid. I'll do na lang. Do you guys have any recommendations on who we should raid?
My friend Phoenix is streaming. Phoenix Iwaki? Question mark?
Okay. Yeah. Let's raid. Where is that? Raid channel. Can you give me a?
Okay, I'll send it in table chat. Oh, that's Ate JC's table chat. Not Azaria.
Oh no.
Lamau lamfao.
Okay. Phoenix Iwaki. All right. We are going to start raid in a few moments. Thank you for watching, you guys. We will see you this Sunday for the main campaign. Goodbye, everyone.
I didn't punch my nephew today.
Wow! Not punching nephew.
Mm-hmm.
Raid.
We're raiding.
There you are.
Let's go.
Congrats, y'all.